She was once Hollywood's brightest star, a name synonymous with infectious laughter, irresistible charm, and timeless beauty. From the sweet and innocent Tony Simmons in Cactus Flower, the role that earned her an Oscar, to the endearingly confused Judy Benjamin in Private Benjamin, and the wounded yet glamorous Elise Elliott in The First Wives Club, Goldie Hawn captured millions of hearts with her wit, grace, and remarkable emotional depth. Today, however, Goldie has touched our hearts in a profoundly different way. In a quiet, devastating confession, she admitted, "I can barely see anything." The world she once illuminated with her presence has now dimmed for her. A cruel twist of fate that sees a woman who brought such radiant light to others now facing her own encroaching darkness. Before we continue, we'd love to hear from you. On a scale from 0 to 10, how would you rate Goldie Hawn as an actress? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion truly matters to us. Long before she became the dazzling blonde with the signature giggle and magnetic screen presence, Goldie Jean Hawn was simply a young girl growing up in Tacoma Park, Maryland, a world away from Hollywood's glitter and chaos. Born November 21st, 1945 to Laura and Edward Rutledge Hawn, her childhood seemed idyllic on the surface. Her mother ran a dance school while her father played music professionally. Their home appeared filled with rhythm, discipline, and artistic nurture. But beneath this harmonious facade, a storm was quietly brewing, one that would profoundly shape Goldie's emotional foundation for decades to come. Even as a young child, Goldie battled deep, persistent anxiety. Before she even understood what panic attacks were, she experienced them. Invisible shadows that stole her breath and made walls close in around her. She lived in fear of the uncontrollable, war, loss, the unknown. She once confessed that as a little girl, she feared she wouldn't live long enough to experience something as simple as a first kiss. For Goldie, childhood innocence was always shadowed by internal battles no one could see. Unlike most children who dreamed of stardom, Goldie's only dream was happiness. When asked at age 11 if she wanted to be on Broadway or become a star, she answered with striking clarity, "No, I just want to be happy." This startling response surprised even the adults around her, yet it revealed the depth of her inner world. For Goldie, happiness wasn't a luxury, it was a lifeline. School brought its own challenges. Struggling to read, Goldie was placed in the lowest reading group, a humiliating position for a sensitive child. Yet it planted the first seeds of resilience. She credits her second-grade teacher, Mrs. Povich, for saving her, not through extraordinary interventions, but with gentle encouragement and unwavering belief. That validation mattered immensely. It was perhaps the first time Goldie felt truly seen and safe. By age 3, she was learning ballet. Dance became her escape, her language. It wasn't about performing for others, but losing herself in movement, rhythm, and grace. Dance was where the noise in her head finally faded. It gave her control, purpose, and flow. This passion grew into her first real ambition, opening her own dance school. Goldie dreamed not of red carpets or flashing cameras, but of wooden floors, mirrors, music, and students. But life had other plans. At 18, filled with cautious hope, she moved to New York City for her first dance job at the World's Fair. What should have been a triumph became her first taste of adult vulnerability. The people she was supposed to stay with had left town. Standing alone on 10th Avenue with no home, no plan, and no safety net, she faced her first real test. Yet she didn't fall apart. She stayed with her dance teacher temporarily, found an apartment, and moved forward. It was the first true demonstration of the quiet resilience she'd built in childhood. Success brought unexpected terror. As opportunities increased, so did her panic attacks. Her body would tremble, her chest would tighten, her thoughts would spiral. The success others saw as a blessing felt like a trap to her. She didn't want fame or the consuming machine that came with it. She wanted peace. At 21, overwhelmed by fear and confusion, Goldie began seeing a psychologist. For 8 years, she delved into deep, often painful self-exploration. Through therapy and meditation, she slowly learned to live with her anxiety, to recognize it, breathe through it. It wasn't a quick fix, but a long, quiet fight she waged privately, even as the world fell in love with her bright smile. Her mother's advice echoed in her ears. When you're up for a job, you better be ready. It's not the producers that make you a star, it's the audience. Win their hearts and you'll earn your place. That truth became her compass. Goldie never manipulated fame. She let audiences decide if she was worth remembering, and they did. Looking back, Goldie Hawn's childhood wasn't marked by dramatic tragedies that make headlines, but by a more silent suffering, the kind that lives in the mind, hides behind laughter, and builds character without applause. It was a quiet battlefield, and she emerged not unscathed but deeply human. That humanity would later become her most powerful gift on screen. Goldie Hawn never intended to become a star, yet she became one almost by accident. In 1969, she played Toni Simmons in Cactus Flower, a role that changed her life forever. The wide-eyed, naive young woman she portrayed struck a deep chord with audiences and the Academy. At just 24, Goldie won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, a surreal victory she never anticipated. She hadn't even watched the broadcast. When she received the call, she thought it was a joke. "I wasn't even thinking about it," she later said. "I was just working. I had moved on." That humble detachment would define her approach to fame for decades. While others chased the spotlight, Goldie often turned away from it. Even during her rise in the 70s and 80s, she approached each project with hesitation, not from arrogance, but from a deep need to protect her inner peace. She didn't want to be devoured by the system. She wanted to create something meaningful that brought light, not pressure. But her talent was undeniable, and Hollywood couldn't look away. She became a leading lady not just because of her beauty or humor, but because of something profoundly human within her. In Private Benjamin, 1980, she portrayed a spoiled widow who joins the army and transforms her life. The role, which earned her a second Oscar nomination, mirrored Goldie's real-life metamorphosis, a woman learning to navigate pain with humor and find strength in vulnerability. Audiences didn't just laugh, they saw themselves in her confusion, struggle, and quiet victories. She went on to star in films like Overboard, Death Becomes Her, and The First Wives Club. Each character different, but all anchored in emotional truth. In The First Wives Club, her portrayal of Elise, a glamorous actress grappling with age, rejection, and heartbreak, was deeply autobiographical. Goldie knew the pain of being seen only for her looks, of being dismissed as she aged. She poured that ache into Elise, turning what could have been a caricature into powerful commentary on womanhood in Hollywood. Perhaps her most courageous career move came when she stepped behind the camera. Goldie became a producer not for prestige, but for freedom. She wanted to shape stories, uplift voices that mattered, and create films reflecting real women, complex, flawed, and beautiful in their imperfection. Her production company gave her agency in an industry that often tried to strip it away. It was a quiet rebellion that changed everything. Throughout the decades, Goldie Hawn refused to be boxed in. She didn't chase fame, she chased authenticity. That pursuit made her more iconic than any award ever could. Though she brought joy to millions, behind the curtain, Goldie Hawn has endured more than her share of silent battles. Her life, once filled with glittering premieres and warm ovations, has in recent years slowed into something quieter, heavier, and at times devastatingly isolating. In March 2025, during a moment that shocked millions, Goldie stepped onto the Oscar stage alongside Andrew Garfield. As she turned to read the teleprompter, she paused. The words didn't come. Her smile faltered. Then, with a small laugh that couldn't mask the truth, she admitted, "I'm completely blind. I have cataracts." That short sentence was devastating. A cruel reminder that even the brightest stars can be swallowed by shadows. For someone like Goldie Hawn, who once lit up screens with luminous eyes and expressive charm, the irony was cruel. The world she had seen so vividly now appeared through a clouded lens. And it wasn't just her eyesight that had begun to fade, it was the presence, rhythm, and closeness that once defined her world. It wasn't the first time she had felt herself disappearing. Long before the diagnosis, Goldie had quietly battled the slow erosion of fame. Hollywood is famously unkind to women as they age. The roles thinned, the phone rang less often. Where once her name had been on every marquee, now she found herself watching from the sidelines. Yet that retreat into silence didn't bring peace. It brought reflection and pain. Goldie has always been open about her decades-long struggle with anxiety and panic attacks. From a young age, the pressure to perform, to please, to maintain an image she never asked for became too much. At 21, she sought therapy, not as a passing experiment, but as a full commitment to healing. For 8 years, she met regularly with a psychologist, peeling back the layers of fear that had quietly governed her life. Around this same period, Goldie experienced deeply personal heartbreak, her first and only divorce. In 1969, she married Gus Traconis, a dancer and aspiring director. What began as a hopeful union quickly unraveled beneath Hollywood's pressures and Goldie's rising fame. While she rarely speaks about that pain, it marked one of her earliest lessons in emotional survival. The quiet dissolution of their marriage in 1976 left an imprint, deepening her understanding of loneliness and love lost too soon. Later in life, another weight settled on her shoulders: regret. Not about fame or lost roles, but about time. Time not spent with her children, stolen by flights, sets, and red carpets. "I wish I could have been there more," she once confessed, her voice breaking. "I missed games, I missed moments, and those are things you can't get back." Despite those regrets, she built a family filled with love. Her children remain close, but even love doesn't always protect against loneliness. As friends passed and the world moved on, Goldie found herself reflecting more on legacy than career. Her work with the MindUP Foundation became a lifeline. She poured herself into it, using neuroscience, mindfulness, and emotional education to help children understand their brains and build resilience. It gave her purpose beyond fame. Yet even in her advocacy, she sometimes felt the ache of being unseen. "I never wanted to be a star," she said. "I just wanted to be happy." But happiness in later years has become a quiet, fragile thing. There are good days filled with laughter, grandchildren, soft music, and home's comfort. But there are also days marked by shadows, of the past, of declining health, of memories that return not with warmth, but with sting. At 80 years old, Goldie Hawn lives a life no longer measured in awards or premieres, but in quiet mornings, soft conversations, and the joyful chaos of grandchildren's laughter. She resides away from Hollywood's glitz, surrounded by nature and family, holding tightly to what has always brought her peace: love, simplicity, and presence. Her days are slower now, but not empty. She wakes with gratitude, meditates in silence, and walks through her garden as if each flower were a poem written just for her. Goldie has learned that true fulfillment comes not from being seen. If you've ever cried or laughed with Goldie Hawn's performances, if her roles brought back memories as vivid as yesterday, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let each video from Civ's Rewind be a journey through time, a gentle reminder of the stars who shaped our hearts and the echoes they've left behind.